All right. So I'm shaking. I'm a little nervous, but I just want to get right into the story. It's a tough one for me to say. I'm already crying, but I know how important it is for me to say. So I'm going to just get it out. So, um the first time I ever remember him sexually assaulting me, I was 3 and my mother and me and him were in the bedroom, and she asked me to sleep like she does. And when she said sleep like she does, she meant with no underwear on. So I thought it was a game, and I played it, and then she'd put me in her room. She'd put me between them in her bed, and he would assault me. He would touch me, and that continued till I was about 5. And then when I was 5, I started sleeping alone, and he came into my room by himself for the first time, and that's when he took it to oral, and then around 8 or 9 he came, that's when my mom walked in, and she seen him on top of me, and she didn't she stood back from afar, and I stared at her, in the eyes, and I'll never forget, she just shut the door and walked away. And life never really felt the same after that. She would physically abuse me, and um yeah, it was a lot of years of physical abuse and sexual abuse from her. Sorry, from him. Him sexually abusing me and her physically abusing me, and it was a lot of intergenerational sexual assaults going on as well, where my brother and I started having sexual interactions at 12 and 10, because we really just didn't know the difference. And I mean, the guilt I've lived with for that, for introducing my brother to something that I didn't even know what was myself. All of that has eaten me alive, and I was addicted to drugs for 14 years because I was living with all of that pain. And I in my 20s I came forward. I was in my 20s when I came forward. I had just had my first baby, and my husband, he kind of always knew that there was something going on with my mental health because I was really angry, and we were drinking a lot, and I disclosed to him that I was sexually assaulted in a drunk night. And he woke up the next morning. He never really talked about it that night because he knew it was a bad idea with me drinking. So the next morning he woke up and we were sober, and he said, "Do you remember what you told me?" And I said, "Yes." And then he said, "Well, if it's if this is true, our son's not allowed to go to your parents' house anymore." And my exact response was, "Why?" And that was because I really only knew sexual abuse, and he didn't sexually assault my brothers, so I didn't think my son was unsafe. I thought my son was safe. And it was at that moment that my husband realized how sick I was and how I needed help. So he reached out to his mom, who works in mental health, and they helped me find therapy, and that was wonderful. It helped me realize that the sexual abuse was wrong. So anyways, let's fast forward to now, and how come I decided to share my story with everyone is because I just I I can't imagine, like I started watching TikToks, okay, when like about a year or two ago, and I got sober because I was watching two girls. I'll never forget who they are, and they're called Recovery Life Apparel on TikTok, and they have so much energy, and they're sober, and they're living this excellent life, and they showed me hope. So I got sober, and I got my sober date, and they told me how important a sober date was, and I stopped using on my sober date, and I was proud of that, and they taught me so much. So I knew I had something that I had to share, because there was a point in my life where I didn't know that sexual abuse was wrong. And somebody's out there and they don't know that. So I just thought, I have to share this, and I did. And I'll never forget, the first video that ever went viral was the one where I said that I orgasmed during the abuse. Um, like, it just, I felt so alone saying it, but I was like, I'm gonna say it, and then I posted it, and it was just like, I have such a story to tell, and that's why I started sharing my story. And after that video, I had two young girls reach out to me just from that video, who said, I didn't know I was being abused until I seen your video. And then from there, I just needed to grow this. And here I am. And this is my podcast.